Tell me about the idea of, when you guys got bought by private equity from HD, and then tell me about the process of going public and doing an IPO, and how long was the whole thing discussed and how long it took.
Sure. Well, for those who don't know the history of the business, Core and Main was actually HD Supply Waterworks, which was part of HD Supply, which was a conglomerate that, it goes back to, as I mentioned, 15, 16 years ago, being part of Home Depot, building out a number of different wholesale industrial businesses and distributors. So, we carved out in 2017, became an independent business, and CD&R bought us. And the experience that we had from that point was really instrumental to how we've been able to grow. When we were part of HD Supply, we're one of the largest businesses. We generated a great deal of cash, but we often had to share that cash and the investment with other businesses as part of HD Supply. So we were never really able to unlock a lot of the potential that we had. And that really came to fruition in 2017 when we became independent. We were solely focused on this market, on the water industry. And, that's allowed us to really pursue a lot of the growth opportunities that we've had. It's allowed us to continue to invest in the resources that we needed to grow this business and to, more than growing the business is really, accelerate a lot of the new product adoption in the water industry, whether it's been smart metering or fusible plastics, a lot of these areas that were kind of new technologies that can help support a lot of the water infrastructure and digitize it. We were able to invest in a lot of those resources and continue to do acquisitions as well too. So being part of a private equity leveraged buyout, we knew from day one that an IPO could be a likely outcome. That given our size and scale, there weren't a lot of what we'd call strategic buyers. And, given what we've been able to show and demonstrate in terms of the ability to unlock value, being independent and focused in the sector, this seemed to be the likely output from day one. And so, from August of 2017 to today, we've been preparing for that, making sure, we had, proper controls in place financially, making sure that we were able to, execute on our strategic plan, and do a lot of those things that allowed us to, be a successful public offering. And that's exactly what we were. So in July of this year, we executed our IPO. It was as a traditional IPO, so you've heard a lot recently about SPACs and some of these other specialty purpose acquisition companies. We did the traditional route on this. It's the largest industrial IPO of the year and one of the largest in the last 3 or 4 years. So we generated about $800 million worth of proceeds. We're extremely pleased with that. Went down to pay down a lot of the debt that we had while still allowing us the capital structure to continue to grow and execute our organic and inorganic growth strategies.
Well, that's terrific. I mean, but you've been working on it yourself, I know, for a couple of years, correct? I mean, that has been your main focus for a couple of years.
Well, it's been a big part of it. I think, certainly we were trying to find ways to grow the business even as part of HD Supply. And, we did a lot during that time frame. And I like to say, becoming solely focused on the sector really allowed us to accelerate a lot of those growth opportunities that we were able to see as part of HD Supply, but we're truly able to unlock when we became independent, where we're able to invest back in our business. We're not competing against other businesses in a conglomerate for capital, for investment. We're able to reinvest back with all the cash that we generate ourselves back into our own business. So that was really kind of instrumental. So it's just allowed, I like to say, to take the gloves off and really be more aggressive about how we've been able to pursue those plans.
I've been around a long time and been in the waterworks industry a long time. Never seen a year like this. Never, ever seen a year like this. And it's been rewarding in some aspects, challenging in most aspects, difficult in others. How do you take a look back at 2021? We're not done yet. We got a couple months, and I know your fiscal year, you got a few more then. But take a look back and what have been the goods, as they say in the movies, what has been the good, the bad, and the uglies of 2021?
Well, it's hard to talk about 2021 without talking about 2020. And I think a lot of what we had in 2020, we came into 2020 really feeling good about things. We started seeing acceleration of municipal investment that started happening in the back half of 2019. We got into March and the beginning of March of 2020 feeling, pretty confident and robust that we were going to see some pretty good market tailwinds. And then, of course, COVID hit. And COVID was one of those shocks to the system. And it was one of those things where, in addition to, just the challenges that you're facing with, your own personnel and trying to keep everybody safe and healthy, its uncertainty was really immense if you go put yourself back into those times. And one of the things that we went through back then with our senior leadership team was we talked about three things. And this is, again, prior to COVID. We talked about agility and being able to be quick to respond in a lot of things. We talked about innovation, and we talked about execution. Those were kind of the three traits that we were really looking to drive in 2020. Obviously not anticipating a global pandemic, but that really played out for us. I think as we went through there, we had to utilize every three of those traits to get us through, the second quarter and third quarter of last year. And then I think what we got as a team then was a lot of confidence. We didn't survive it, we were thriving during it. And I think that really came true. And as we get into this year, it's been a new challenge. Certainly COVID is still there, but we've learned how and to adapt our policies and procedures to overcome that and to manage through that. Now we're getting into supply chain shortages. Now demand is at all-time highs and supplies at all-time lows. So we're working through all of those challenges with how we do that. But it comes really back to that agility, innovation, execution, and our folks are finding ways to make things happen out there. I will share with you that our size and scale are really instrumental at this point. We've been able to get access to product that many of our competitors aren't able to. And the fact that we've got local presence, we've got 285 branches out there, and we really pride ourselves in local expertise. Our folks out there, if they can't get their hands on the product that's needed to complete some of these projects, they're really knowledgeable at being able to find alternative materials to help our customers complete those projects. And so it's really brought to fruition a lot of the value proposition we really pride ourselves in, and that is local experience nationwide and our ability to utilize our size and scale to really support these customers at a local level.
Have you had to ramp up the inventory? I know inventory's tough to get your hands on, but have you had to ramp it up to try it best you can because of the outages that so many manufacturers like us have been going through, and it obviously been difficult for the distribution business as a whole. Have you had to increase? Have you had to increase your inventory?
Yeah, sure, Larry. We've certainly been looking at our inventory position and taking bigger positions than in some cases than we typically would, knowing that we got to have the product to be able to support a lot of the projects that are out there, no doubt. And what I would also share with you is that it's challenging. There are some products right now. You get into some of the pipe, for example, that's out there, whether it's ductile iron or PVC. It is like from factory to job site. There is not much in the channel right now, and so having access to that and having the way we're structured, we got 285 branches out there. The visibility we have in our systems has been instrumental in being able to help share inventory across different districts, different regions as well, to be able to fulfill a lot of these projects and these customer demands.
Steve, are you worried at all? I worry a little of the fact, when I see pipe at block 380, when it was 80 before the pandemic, I just can't imagine that. But when I see PVC pipe at block 380, I'm worried that this industry may price itself out, and that all of a sudden, all the great momentum that we have, you have, I have, everybody in the industry seems to have right now because of demand, that may put a little break on the situation. Do you see it leveling off or finally stopping? What do you think is going to happen here?
Yeah, it's always a big concern that the inflation that's driving it right now is going to push out some of these projects or cancel some of these projects or cause them to be lower in scope. The best way I'm looking at it right now is that that demand is as strong as we've ever seen. And if you look at what's driving it, it really comes back to this infrastructure that has been underinvested in for a decade plus. And simultaneously with that, what you're seeing is that municipalities are now better able to get access to the capital they need to invest back into their infrastructure, and that they're also, it's an absolutely mission critical to have that infrastructure performing properly, and to have the repairs put in place. So I don't see the demand easing, because it is, that repair and replace part is so significant. And then when you look at some of the other things in terms of residential, we saw, in some cases, builders were taking a pause earlier in the year as they're trying to get access. Lumber prices were going crazy. So, if lumber's any reflection of that, these things tend to settle out. PVC's gone through some real shocks to the system in the last 18 months, last year really, from Hurricane Laura last fall to the deep freeze to Hurricane Ida. They've had, their production capability certainly impaired through this whole time. That should ease at some point. They should get back to, they're getting back to the capacity and the production. There's just so much demand right now to pull through. So we'll see how that plays out. I wish I had a crystal ball, but I'd say right now everything we're seeing is demand remains incredibly strong still.
I think so too. Steve, we've had, pandemic's been challenging in a lot of aspects. SIGMA's got a pretty tight-knit family, but I was a little disappointed in the number of vaccinated folks we had. And then I've been disappointed in as far as trying to hire people. We have 4 manufacturing sites for our Raven product line. It's just not easy finding people. Are you finding the same thing to try to get people at the branch level, whether they be drivers or warehouse workers or inside people? You having the same problem trying to get people to work?
Yeah, yeah, Larry, we've had that same challenge. I mean, nobody's immune from this at this point. It really seems to be that the challenges are pretty pervasive. So whether it's entry-level positions that we have in the field or even here at headquarters, we've been short-staffed in so many different areas. But I'd say that we've been fortunate in many regards. Is that, as you know, in this industry, once you get in, you tend to really love it. And so we've been able to do a number of great hires over the last year, and even through the COVID piece and all the challenges associated with that. We just got great retention with our associates out here, and we've been able to attract that. We've done a lot of programs to help, fund, if you recommend somebody, finder's fees and everything else. And so it's been good. We've been able to get through it, but we certainly would like to get fully staffed here at some point and take some of that burden off of all of our associates today that are working hard.
Well, this industry's been good to the two of us. We got a basketball player from upstate New York. We got a chubby golfer from Central Mass, and we've been both blessed. Last question for you, bud. Yeah. 22, 23-year-old kid is coming out of Union College. You want to get him in the water industry. What would you say to a kid coming out of school that may be more interested in working for Google or Facebook or high tech? What would you say to him about the waterworks industry? Young kid out of school.
I would say this. What's been really interesting, I always like to work with my hands. So to me, the opportunity to get into this industry 12, 13 years ago, if I could have done this at 23, I'd have done it then. You really see the means of your work. You really see exactly the impact that you can have in your local community. And as you grow in that career, whether it's supporting customers, whether it's being in sales or being in operations and managing a branch and managing a P&L, I mean, we have those opportunities for folks now in their 20s that are getting to manage, multi-million-dollar P&L at a branch level. I mean, that's hard to do. There are not a lot of businesses out there where you have that opportunity. And then to be able to build a career in sales, build a career in operations that can take you all across this great country. There's just so much opportunity there, and I think that would be one. It's not for everybody, so there's certainly some folks that are going to be attracted to Google. Let them go do that. The folks that really want to dig in and maybe get their hands dirty a little bit. This is the way to do it, and it has very much a family culture, not just in our business but in this entire industry, as you know, Larry.
Oh, that's great. Well, listen, bud, you're doing a great job. Core and Main had a very successful IPO. Steve, congratulations to you and your company, and not only good luck to Core and Main, but good luck to the craft beer industry too. We got to give a little plug there too.
Yeah, that's been pretty good too. Although I don't think I'll be retiring on the craft beer industry.
It was good to see you. When I see you again, I owe you a pork chop. Remember that.
We'll do that. We'll do that, Larry.
Great to see you.
All the best to you. Take care.